Hello, hopefully everyone can hear me okay. Go ahead and pop a comment in the chat if you're having any sort of technical issues. We'll do what we can on our end. I just want to thank you for joining us today. My name is Katie Porter. I'm a content manager here at Marin Software, I oversee, webinars, website content, and anything of this nature where we're trying to educate the public on best practices in advertising and help you be better at your jobs, which is the goal of today. I'm really excited about today's topic, embracing AI and automation in Amazon advertising. Obviously, AI is kind of at the top of everyone's minds for the last little bit, but we're still figuring out how to apply it directly, right? And Amazon Ads is definitely an example of that, where we want to take the intellectual or academic and apply it to the actual to tactical. So I'm sure there's a lot of technicians here today, a lot of paid specialists that are running ads day to day, and can definitely empathize and understand some of the challenges that we're going to talk through. And we'll have a little bit of something for everyone. So whether you're a seasoned advertiser or just starting out, we hope that you'll have something to gain today, both in the big picture, long-term planning, and also in the day-to-day execution. We'll have a Q&A session at the end today, so if you have any questions throughout, go ahead and pop them in the chat, and we'll get to as many as we can. We do have a tight schedule and a tight agenda because there's lots to go over, but we'll take as much time there as possible. Before we jump into the core content, I always like to introduce the partners that are sponsoring today's webinar, and then introduce our speakers as well. Marin Software, the company that I'm representing today, is hosting this webinar for you. Our tool is designed to save time and sell more by automating reporting and optimization across performance marketing publishers. So we have this overall tool that brings all of your advertising together. You can run Amazon, Pinterest, TikTok, you name it, Target, all in one place. And you can see how those campaigns are comparing side by side, which is a really big value add. We will be going through a lot of details as to how you can use AI and automation in your Amazon advertising, but I also wanted to introduce our partner, Pitted Labs. They've been an awesome partner to us. They are seasoned Amazon advertisers, and they provide services focusing directly on Amazon as a revenue-driving channel. So any consultation you need, creative optimization, Amazon strategy, all of that can be done with our friends at Pitted. Okay, and without further ado, I will introduce our speakers. Gordon Ferris is the Director of Demand Generation. He has nearly 15 years of experience in digital advertising and just a wealth of knowledge in all kinds of technology. I've learned a lot from him personally. And Justin McCurdy has also been an incredible consultant and expert guest to have on this webinar. He is one of the leading advertising managers at Pitted Labs and runs some of their largest accounts. So he's really this wealth of knowledge in terms of Amazon ads specifically. Any Amazon question you might have, Justin's your guy. As far as our agenda for today is, first, we're just from a high level, we're going to cover what is intelligent automation, how should we be looking at these terms like AI, automation, etc., and what do each one mean, and how do we use each tool at the right time. Then we'll get into Amazon advertising at large, some of their new offerings, and start to talk about how you can link the two together, linking together your AI initiatives to save you time with Amazon, and then the role of Amazon ads in your omni-channel strategy. I'll pass the torch over to Gordon now, who will take it away.
Great, thank you, Katie. First, I just want to say I'm quite a geek myself. I am very passionate about the topic of AI and automation, from having built my own voice-activated home assistant network back in like 2010 to today, where we're seeing so many things happening at such an aggressive pace. It's really exciting. But I think we've put together some pretty great content for you today that's around how we can fuel Amazon growth without too much of a headache or overhead. And first I'll talk about, I think, some of the hottest topics on everyone's mind, which is defining AI and automation as a whole, and why every marketer on the planet right now is trying to adopt these technologies as quickly as possible. So, I mean, for most of you, this is going to be a brief refresher, but there's so much information out there right now. And we just wanted to kind of take a pause and give you a bird's eye view of the whole AI universe. Um, Artificial intelligence and automation have become integral components of the advertising industry. We're seeing, a new era of digital marketing. That's thing. And automation and AI are not mutually exclusive, right? AI powers and enables a good deal of automation today, especially when it comes to digital marketing. Um, and to take another little bit of a step back, AI is categorized in three ways when we look at it, right? There's artificial narrow intelligence, which we call ANI. There's general intelligence, and then there's artificial super intelligence. Artificial narrow intelligence, ANI, is where we are today. It's single use functions per AI system. And it's been like that for many years, actually. Some examples of AI single use that we've had for a while are like the calculator on your phone or autocorrect. Amazon's product recommendations or Netflix's recommendations, right? These are examples of ANI because they're single use functions that process data and make decisions off of them, get better results. AI, the coin was termed back in like 1965 by this guy, John McCarthy. And funny enough, he's always expressed frustration with the fact that as soon as it works, nobody calls it AI anymore. And that's true because today we're all trying to understand what these new tools capabilities are, how to use it where it fits. And in advertising specifically, we're still very much calling it AI because we're using it to primarily analyze large volumes of data, right? Derive actionable insights in near real time, trying to still figure out where it fits into our flow. And AI generated insights really help advertisers understand consumer behavior, preferences, trends, and it allows us to create highly targeted and more personalized campaigns. Automation, on the other hand, right? This is the process of computers fulfilling repetitive tasks on predetermined criteria without there being a need for an interaction from a human. So you can see how like AI overlaps with automation here in this chart. And, when it's important to make a distinction between these terms and define what we're talking about and when. As an advertiser, you want to look at various components of tools that are at your disposal, things to be used at the right place and the right time. And you wouldn't, change a tire with a screwdriver, right? You shouldn't utilize machine learning when what you really need in the moment is just robotic process automation, your workflow. So automation, right, today involves real-time bidding or ad buying based on predefined budgets and targets. Other repeatable tasks that you might be doing where if you spend an hour or 2 hours on the upfront automating something that maybe your team or you are doing every day for just 10 minutes a day, you save that 10 minutes a day with that 2 hour upfront, right? Like that's automation. And intelligent automation, which is kind of where you see the fusing of this AI and automation together, is a cognitive automation. It combines artificial intelligence with business process management. And when you put it together, it enhances decision making in organizations. It simplifies your tasks. It saves resources. It boosts efficiency. And industries, like automotive manufacturing, right? They use intelligent automation to quicken the production and minimize human error on the production line, while industries like pharmaceuticals apply it to cut costs and optimize, repetitive processes. So I could sit here all day and keep going into all these definitions and everything that lives in the world of artificial intelligence, right? Like there's so many things, generative AI, where you're seeing all these images and things being created, music, videos being created from scratch just from text prompts. We're really here to focus today on what is going to empower and help your Amazon automation and your just Amazon performance in general. So it's going to be more tailored to less maybe like the generative AI that Amazon and Google are releasing, where you have your product image and you can generate a background for certain products. This is more about what we can do to help you with your day-to-day marketing processes to raise performance. And with that, I am thrilled to pass it over to Justin, our resident Amazon expert for the day.
Great. I appreciate the introduction into AI as a whole, and I can chat through kind of a brief overview of where we're at with Amazon advertising today, and then get into kind of how we can solve some of these challenges that we face as advertisers. So quick refresher for anyone who's not too familiar with Amazon advertising. This is where we begin, is with sponsor products, brands, and display. Quick overview, sponsor products is likely where you're going to spend most of your time. I'd say most of our clients are probably putting about 75% of their overall marketing budget for Amazon into that bucket. That's going to appear in search results as you search for a given keyword. It's going to appear on detail pages. that's really where we tend to drive most of the performance. And of course, we're going to chat through some of the challenges we face with that, and how to best improve advertising through some of the technologies that Gordon mentioned. Beyond that, we have sponsored brands. That's going to be mostly your banner ads, your video ads, where you have a bit more creative pull, and you're able to really showcase who your brand is, what your product does, and to show a little bit more about your product and educate the consumer a bit more. With sponsored display, that's where Amazon is putting a lot of their eggs into that basket to try and improve it, because there's a ton of features coming out. It feels like almost on a monthly basis at this point. That's going to appear off of Amazon. That's going to appear on detail pages on Amazon. It's kind of going to be everywhere at this point. And so we don't have a ton of brands who are spending maybe more than 10% of their budget there currently. But with that being said, definitely still an important aspect considering how heavily Amazon weights it into advertising, and also how much they're improving it. That shows that they really want to make it work. And so going to chat through all three of these. This is kind of the core components of Amazon advertising. Next, we also have some of the additional newer features with Amazon advertising. Primarily, of course, you have Amazon posts that are going to typically appear on a given detail page for a product. This is a great way to take some of that social content that you're using on Facebook and Instagram and the like, and to be able to put that onto your detail pages and showcase your brand a bit more. One of the great things about this is that those impressions are still free for now. It's definitely something where I think Amazon in the next few years will be talking about it differently as more of a paid tactic. But for now, it's a great way to just get some impressions on the competitor's detail page. I know I've seen plenty of categories where that's going to just appear as almost like a product similar to this. That here's what you're viewing, here's some other brands that are doing some cool things in this space, and that's a great way to try and steal some traffic away from your competitors. Stores is a huge component of this. Those are going to be driven primarily by sponsored brand placements, but also if you search for a brand on Google, you're also going to likely get a link to either their storefront or to their search results to show their products. And so stores are a great way to brand and to show off exactly what your creative is, what your products do, to really make it as custom as you want to. In many cases. And this is also, Amazon has recently released some functionality to follow brands and to follow their storefront. So you can see their posts pop up. You can see if they're doing new stuff. There's even some new features to email those people now. And so Amazon is really putting a lot into stores. If you see any brand that's doing a lot on Amazon, they're definitely, their storefront's a huge part of that. There's a lot of traffic coming through there, and there's some new features to be able to target those customers especially. Amazon Live is still very much in its nascent stages. It's been around for a couple of years at this point, but it's really valuable around peak seasons, and especially if you're more of like a visual type product. Beauty categories we see dominate this type of stuff. But to be able to showcase your product, have someone talking about it, these are some really cool things that Amazon's done to help with more of that branding aspect, so that you're not just showing an ad in front of a person when they search a term. You're also showcasing why your product is unique, why it's different, and why it's the best product for the job. Beyond this, we kind of have the future of Amazon advertising. Really, a lot of what we're facing in Amazon marketing specifically, but these problems aren't necessarily unique to us, is trying to figure out how to best attribute our ads from other platforms, and how to ensure that ties into Amazon advertising, and really measure that so we can know which buckets to put our dollars into. Amazon attribution is really the best feature for that now. Amazon's doing a ton of work there, and I think it's really one of their forefront technologies moving forward, is the ability to show exactly where your ads are coming from. I heard an old statistic years ago on an Amazon webinar that about 2 out of every 5 customers that click on a Facebook ad and end up buying a product will eventually convert on Amazon, regardless of where that landing page is. And so Amazon attribution is a way to better tell exactly what's going on there from your other platforms, and how that ties into Amazon. AMC, or Amazon Marketing Cloud, has been a huge buzzword for the past year or so in the Amazon space. This is really a great way to be able to, especially with the deprecation of the cookie across other platforms, you're now able to do a little bit more with some data clean rooms there, to be able to combine your data from other platforms, try to identify which customers are purchasing, which ones are just purchasing on Amazon, because there are plenty of Amazon loyalists that are going to be buying from your brand. This is a great way to try and do a little bit more with that. And we'll get into the DSP part later, but AMC is a really great feature if you're using DSP. Beyond that, you also have Seismic and Amazon's ad server, where you're able to do a little bit more off of Amazon and showcase some advertising on other platforms as well. We have brands that have come to us even that don't want to sell on Amazon. They don't really want to do anything with the platform because it doesn't make sense for their business for whatever reason. But they want to utilize the Amazon customer data and to get in front of those people who are really trying to purchase through the platform and utilize the brand name that Amazon has, and then to be able to market their products onto other platforms, even if it doesn't necessarily translate into Amazon as a whole. So that's a quick background on Amazon advertising, kind of state of the platform today. Now I want to get into a little bit more with some of the challenges that we're currently facing as Amazon advertisers. The first one I mentioned a little bit earlier is the gaps with attribution as a whole. It's a really difficult thing to figure out where your shoppers are and to figure out which ad converts best. We see plenty of data from Amazon of how this works in the platform, but at the end of the day, it's really helpful to know if someone's, I guess, what that path to purchase looks like, to be able to tell if a customer is buying through Facebook or if Instagram is a better way to go about it, or X or whatever it might be. There's plenty of different platforms out there, and it's important to understand exactly how that's feeding into Amazon, even if you aren't necessarily driving traffic from these platforms directly to the marketplace. Of course, managing campaigns that are larger and for clients that have bigger budgets, AI is it's essential in managing these. I know we have brands that are spending quite a bit on the platform, and it's really difficult to effectively manage that unless you have a team of 20 people, or if you have a couple of really great tools to be able to manage that. Of course, trying to figure out where your ad spend should go and pricing alongside that. There's a lot of dollars behind this to be able to tell what the best price is for the category and where customers are going to buy and to adjust according to that. But then also to adjust budgets automatically. There's a really important aspect there that as campaigns drop in traffic or as they rise or whatever it might be, it's important to have a software that's going to be behind the scenes in managing that. Of course, something that Gordon mentioned a little bit at the beginning is the ability to better target and speak to your customers and personalize your ads, do some generation with that. This is something where Amazon doesn't provide a lot of abilities currently, but we're going to get a little bit more into that in terms of the things that we can do currently as advertisers. And then, of course, when you have your keywords dialed in, when you have your targeting dialed in, it's important to figure out how you can show new ads and really reach through to these customers when they're seeing so many ads on a daily basis. And so avoiding ad fatigue and being able to show exactly the right ad to the right person at the right time. And so I'm going to hand it back over to Gordon to chat through, I guess, the technical side of how we can overcome some of these challenges.
Yeah, thank you, Justin. There's definitely a lot of low-hanging fruit with AI, right? So we want you to walk away today with at least a handful of very practical, immediate things that you can do, like as soon as you get off this call, that you can try right away. So I'm going to walk you through some very tangible examples, explicit ones, and then look at some things that are going to help you create some lift by lift strategies, I guess we'll just call them, because Pitted Labs has a few workflows as well that work to this end. So the first big opportunity with AI, right, is this sudden recognition of a superpower to crunch large sets of data very quickly now. You can do in-depth data analysis super fast. This is probably the primary use case as we stand today. And AI systems can vastly, analyze vast quantities of data, provide valuable insights to customer behavior, preferences, trends. And these insights, will help you create those highly targeted and personalized campaigns we talked about. So there's some immediate out-of-the-box opportunities here. Very generally, yes, you can use AI to crunch large sets of data, merge it with industry trends. And as you get used to certain workflows and become more familiar with certain tools, you'll start to have eureka moments, with merging data sets together. And I hope this next one I'm about to walk you through is the trigger for that, because it's definitely been a bit of that discovery moment for me. So we all know ChatGPT, right? ChatGPT has been the big hubbub. OpenAI and ChatGPT, I think, kicked the snowball down the hill, maybe for what we've seen happen in this space since November. And one way to hack Amazon advertising analysis is with this plugin for ChatGPT 4 called Code Interpreter. This is an amazing tool for analyzing Amazon ad reports. Now, it's a GPT-4 plugin, so you'll have to be a GPT subscriber and activate beta plugins in your account settings, you'll then get this code interpreter dropdown, which you see in this image here. And you use this to essentially upload a raw data file using that little tiny plus mark next to send a message in the prompt field. Upload a raw data export, it could be CSV. And then what's amazing about this, it will automatically clean the data, perform a data analysis based on the questions that you put into your prompt in text, and then it will also create data visualization of any notable trends. So if we go to the next slide, this is a prompt that I use as an example. I did it as a little bit of a trick test as well, where I intentionally inserted data in the report that I'd removed a few metrics, or I put in like a character error or something to see how it would do. What happened was when I used this prompt, perform an analysis of my Amazon sponsored products ads this quarter, give it a quarterly report. What are my top performing ads? Which underperforming ads should I pause or refresh? What day of the week has the highest level of engagement, and what other notable trends are there in this data? And boom, immediately out of the gate, it recognizes that there's something wrong with some of the data fields. It automatically cleaned it, but it gave me a very in-depth, synopsis of like, hey, I'm noticing an error. Let me change it for you. And using this functionality, it will show you in these kind of boxes, show work. There's the Python code that it actually used to run through that, which you could copy and utilize if you were savvy to that end. Now, the next piece was, once it cleaned the data and it went through it, it provided me a text overview of the analysis. Right? And this is very in-depth. It gives you like paragraphs very quickly. But this all happened within a span of about a minute and a half. Less, actually, I think, overall. Once it cleaned the data, it was probably like 20 seconds. This could save you so much time if you're trying to understand things very quickly, right? For reporting either for your clients, or reporting internally for your CMO, the C-suite level, on what's going on within your program. You see here, it gave me the synopsis of what I was asking for. Okay, I'm going to give you these feedback points, and then it starts to go in depth, and there's pages of this in the response, so I can only paste in one image here, but it will show, for example, here are the top 5 underperforming ads with the metrics accordingly, and I based that underperforming synopsis on significant number of impressions, but low click-through rates, right? It tells you how it's codifying things, and you can ask it you could ask it a question immediately after that response to be like, wait, can you look at this maybe on clicks against conversions, right? So you can talk to it and get live responses off the data. But what's also really cool is this next part where it will automatically create charts and graphs for you. I think this is rather fascinating, where it will just kind of interpret and look at, like, I asked it about what's the best day of week. Okay, it'll give me a synopsis on Saturday emerges as the day with the highest average CTR, and these are the other days that are lower. And so I can take that immediately and apply it to a day parting strategy, right? I can maybe bid down, or I know the days that it seems to be I'm having higher engagement from my customer. And the other piece also, then it will look for trends to see if there's any patterns or connections to performance, investment over time, clicks over time, and you can continue to ask it questions of the data, and it will continue to give you visualizations. And you can be explicit too, to be like, hey, give me a chart then that's showing a higher percentage range of click-through rate, and you can use those visuals almost immediately for your internal reporting. Now, this tool is fantastic, right? This code interpreter plugin for ChatGPT-4, it's fantastic for quickly analyzing large time frames. Monthly, quarterly, annual reporting, right? But it's a bit arduous to glean actionable next steps. Some of the recommendations it makes are very basic still. It can take a little bit of time, and it's a time investment to get next steps from ChatGPT on a daily basis. And that's actually why we developed Marin Insights. So if you don't want to do a manual upload every time you're trying to do an analysis, Marin Insights is a function that performs this for you across your entire marketing portfolio. So you can skip the step of uploading reports to ChatGPT-4 and going through asking it to clean some things up or like tweak some of the visuals, and get intraday actionable insights or flags on your program that you can apply to your campaigns across multiple publishers with just a click of a button. So we built this intentionally to kind of save time for marketers, but also streamline everything from 404 errors to ads that might be worthy of being paused to maximize, your daily investment, to keywords recommendations that should be added to your program. You can see also, though, your full e-commerce picture, what we were talking about earlier with like something happens on Facebook and it results in an Amazon version down funnel. It's looking at Amazon, Walmart, Target, anything you plug into Marin, it will look at them all together. And our insights tool will then give you optimizations that you can execute automatically. It doesn't just analyze the data. It's looking at historical data. It's looking at opportunities to reduce wasteful spending and capitalize on volume in high-performing areas. It also gives you estimates of incremental spend, conversion, and revenue examples to show you what you might stand to gain once you do implement a recommendation. So this is a really powerful functionality that we've released intentionally to save time, especially if you don't have a ChatGPT 4 subscription or you're maybe not as ChatGPT 4 savvy or wanting to do that daily lifting. Another big opportunity, though, outside of Marin, specific when we're looking especially at Amazon for out-of-the-box Amazon advertisers, it's utilizing automation in campaign management. Automation in Amazon advertising simplifies the management of your ad campaign, right? So from scheduling ads to real-time bidding, automation reduces the manual effort required and minimizes that risk of human error. So with the Amazon Ads API, you can automate, scale, optimize advertising to an extent. The API allows you to develop flexible solutions and integrate more deeply with Amazon's ecosystem, and it's really a useful tool for agencies or advertisers that might be a little bit bigger with internal engineering resources that are managing, a very large volume of campaigns. The API is open and free to use. It enables standard selling of Amazon, and you get your standard Amazon account fees and campaign costs on top of it. But the challenge is it requires a skilled development team, and there's a lengthy build process to incorporate the API into what you might be doing for management and reporting internally. So if you don't have developer resources, this is where licensing a platform or technology comes into play to take your automation even further. So that's where, again, we were talking about, Justin mentioned Amazon attribution earlier. Marin, we've created a solution to take care of, we're accessing the API on your behalf and taking care of that development part for you, where we integrate directly with the Amazon API feature to get you attribution across everything in your marketing portfolio, not just Amazon, but connecting that Facebook, that Google, that Instagram assist, or that direct link, right? So Amazon attribution in our platform allows advertisers to view and report on everything across channels in one place, see the corresponding conversions, understand touch. Even though this is a last touch attribution model, it's available to vendors and professional sellers who are enrolled in the Amazon brand registry. So it's really designed to fill the gap in reporting non-attributed conversions to Amazon. And that when you're having trouble tracking where did that conversion come from, now you can trace it back to a Google search, Microsoft, a Facebook, a Meta, Instagram, etc. Initial assist. So without that integration, you wouldn't be able to connect the cost of a paid search or paid social click, resulting in a conversion match. Now, third on our list of AI-driven Amazon opportunities is dynamic pricing and optimization. This is a big area where you're going to see a lot of developments and new features and exciting things, I think, coming out in the next year as machine learning paired with automation linked directly to live advertising metrics starts to give us better intelligence on where to spend our next dollar. Automation plays a key role, right, in dynamic pricing strategies and optimization. So with the right setup, you can automatically adjust ad spend based on real-time performance metrics, predefined rules, and it will help you optimize your return on ad spend. Amazon uses dynamic pricing by default. So, adjusting product prices based on market conditions, demand, stock availability, customer behavior. The methodology Amazon uses here is called price anchoring. And that's a tactic that makes lower priced items seem more attractive. Amazon offers two automated repricing options, right? There's predefined automated pricing rules and customized pricing rules. And despite any potential legal risks and consumer perception issues, dynamic pricing is very effective for boosting profits and competitiveness. We absolutely recommend that you start utilizing the predefined automated pricing rule and customized pricing rule features right away. It's a really quick, straightforward, out of the box thing for you to apply. And if you leverage these features along with something like Marin's bidding and budget tools, or some of the bidding sophistication there and modeling that even your own team of analytics or developers might develop, it'll give you a huge advantage over your competition. To that end, we developed a function called, dynamic pricing on its own isn't enough. And we developed a function on one hand called Marin scripts for some of those who are a little bit more technically savvy. But even today, the beauty of ChatGPT and a lot of these generative AI function is you don't need to know the code anymore to build something in Python really quickly. We have a team member on our managed services team who took a 1-hour course on Python and then started using ChatGPT, just telling it what she wanted it to do, and it would generate the Python code, and she was able to plug that in to get certain insights and certain pieces of data out of the unified and normalized data that a client had put all in together across Google, Meta, and Amazon in their account through Marin. Our platform will clean your data and unify it all in one cohesive model. And so it's a great source to go in and find those connections across channels. And she utilized ChatGPT without any previous coding experience to action upon that. So this is why we released scripts, which is basically like a front door to be able to utilize AI to get more out of your data or get exactly what you need. What I was showing you in that earlier ChatGPT 4 example, when you click on the show my work button that it generates, you can copy that Python code and you can copy that into, for example, the front door Marin scripts. Last but not least is our own AI-powered, machine learning-powered bid algorithm, which we've called Budget Optimizer. It's an automated report that visualizes your performance against plan. So you set certain goals. You say, I need to hit this ROAS target, or I need to hit this sales volume. And it will send you alerts if anything starts to get off track of hitting that goal. And it's very flexible. It's completely customizable to your goals and your needs. And there's scalable budget management programs of any size. It also works across all your channels and all your campaigns. So it becomes like your mission control in one centralized place to see all of that. And we're about to release imminently a really powerful forecasting capability on top of this product, which we're calling Marin Ascend. But with that, I'll stop kind of the Marin flexing as much, just because there's so much around AI that's exciting. And I know there's a world where it feels like it is AI coming to take our jobs, but rather it's not coming to take jobs. We should look at it as a way of upgrading yourself by Tony Stark had his Iron Man suit, right? And it had Jarvis built into it. And all of a sudden this normal human becomes a superhero. AI, when used correctly, could turn your entire marketing department into an army of Iron Men, Iron Women, etc. It's something we should look at as something that helps us do our jobs better and quicker and makes us more competitive in the market. That said, we can't divorce ourselves from the human intelligence and decision making that makes the AI work for us. And for that, I'm going to turn it back over to Justin on some workflows, so he can go through some examples of how we make the machines work for us better.
Great. Yeah, the first item I want to get into is how we can best improve our product research processes. When it comes to advertising on Amazon, it helps to have a good product, and that's really the important part at the core of everything we do. Is it's a lot easier to sell something that has a good following and has good reviews. And so with this, to Gordon's point, that it's really helpful to have someone human on the back end who's using these tools. When it comes to building a product that really connects with consumers, that's something that a machine can't get all the way with. And so when it comes to improving our product research processes, what that allows us to do with AI is we can take review sentiments, we can export reviews, and plug those into something like ChatGPT or whatever tool you prefer to use, and ask for the top 5 most common issues with this product or whatever it might be, or what are the core components with 1 stars. And even on that side, if you're having issues with fulfillment for whatever reason, you can find those relatively easily and get those adjusted by Amazon if it's a fulfillment issue. So things like this can really help cut down on a lot of that time associated with going over to all these different tools and trying to find out exactly what customers are saying about the product. And you can do this on your own products. You can do it on a competitor's product, or if you're looking to start something of your own. Great way to go about trying to analyze exactly what's going on and how consumers is viewing a product. Beyond this, kind of in that same customer experience vein, you can try to identify what exactly the market is doing. Sellers have a little bit of a different experience. Of course, vendor central, seller central. As a seller, it's a huge difference on your end, but as a consumer, these things matter as well, as if they can get their product in 2 days or less, exactly what they're looking for from that. And so you can begin to do some competitor research as well on that point of how is a customer reacting? Like, are the top sellers in a category, are they all one-piece sellers, or are they all three-piece sellers? Can you get away with being FBM in a category where products are a little bit heavier or bulkier for whatever reason? And then also identifying the right mix of ads to show these customers the right things at the right time. And so with that point, you can be able to identify really in a short amount of time, are sponsored brand ads working better than our sponsored display ads? Is it important for a consumer to see a sponsored display ad first? Is that, at the end of the day, with that data and analysis point that Gordon mentioned, is it important for a customer to see an ad before they get to the sponsored product ad, and where exactly are they first viewing our product, and how many touch points does it take to get them to the bottom of the funnel? And then, of course, you can identify exactly which strategies are working better. There are plenty of buzzwords out there. There are plenty of strategies. If you go on YouTube and search, you can see 10 different gurus telling you 10 different things. And so with that, you can identify whether keyword isolation, search term harvesting is a factor. Is it working for your account? Because there's differing opinions on that. You can identify which match types are working best. You can try to really see what is working for your account, because at the end of the day, it matters what works for you and what puts those dollars in your bank account. Beyond that, we also have plenty of different things you can do with personalization when it comes to showing different advertising to different people. Of course, Amazon doesn't have a ton of features. They don't have dynamic creative to the extent that we would like yet. It's not quite to the point where if a customer searches a certain search term or has a question, that it's going to show a tagline that is directly attributed to them. We're not quite to that point. There's movement in that direction. Amazon Personalize, you can review some of the support docs. It's an AWS functionality. And that shows some of the things that Amazon can do outside of the Amazon marketplace and what they're looking at. But they don't necessarily have that applied to Amazon quite yet. And so it's a really interesting insight into where they think the marketplace is going and what the future of advertising looks like on Amazon. One of the other things with this, and this visual kind of represents what an auto-targeting typically looks like, the 4 ad groups that are typically associated with auto-targeting. It obviously has its imperfections. We've seen plenty of times where we'll have a product in one product line, but it's showing search terms for something completely unrelated. And so with that, auto campaigns allow some level of AI where the software is I guess Amazon as a whole is trying to match what exactly a customer is searching for and trying to do that in real time. But you can also begin to test out various segments against automatic targeting and see if you can kind of beat Amazon in that way. Of course, this involves doing a lot of manual targeting and trying to figure out if a certain category works best or if a certain combination of consumers might work best. And so being able to analyze that data a little bit more quickly through these types of tools is a really helpful thing to try and figure out where exactly you should show it at the right time. Beyond this, we've actually, on that ASIN scaling part, we've found some really, really great success with ASIN targeting specifically. But what we've noticed is that if a given product line is running a deal or if they're really increasing their off Amazon spend, if we're on their detail page, we see a spike in sales as well because they just have more traffic coming to their page. And so ensuring that we have a lot of different tools hooked up can help scale bidding when these ASINs begin to run their own deals, and then we kind of tag along as they're skyrocketing. And so being able to identify that in real time is something that I know I personally couldn't do because you can't check on that many products every day. And so it's really on a tool at that point to be able to take care of that. And then next, want to get into keyword research as well, because keyword research is probably the easiest implementation of this. Using things like the Search Query Performance Dashboard. This is my favorite thing that's probably been released by Amazon, especially within the past year, but maybe overall. Great way to go about trying to find what terms are relevant to your category. And to be able to digest those 1,000 terms that Amazon gives you, that's something that really requires the spend all day in pivot tables trying to really plug tools that Gordon's mentioned and be able to get some data pretty quickly. And then the most important thing with, I guess, all these tools is, of course, to test. When it comes to Amazon advertising, testing has been something that's been a little bit less important than it has been with other platforms on Facebook. It feels like that's really the main rule of advertising at Amazon. And that's you should keywords that work, but then also identify maybe there's a new creative that we can plug in. Maybe there's a new sponsor brand I can show a customer that makes this keyword from unprofitable and it turns into a profitable keyword. And so being able to identify what the, not only what, so is little working with Marin's bidding systems.
And Justin, I think your audio was breaking up for us just a little bit, at least on my end. Classic, classic video conference issue. So if you wouldn't mind just repeating that last point again, I think it would help us.
Oh, of course, yeah. The biggest point was just to test. Testing is something that we don't do a ton of, as much as we should in Amazon. And so in your advertising and to be able to use different tools in that process. And then next, we want to chat through a use case that we had with Marin's bidding systems and how AI kind of factors into this. We had a brand who, and I think this is true for any brand, is that your search volume for your branded terms, especially if you have a few branded terms that have a decent amount of search volume, really dependent on the like the autofill. And so if you're searching for a term, it's going to autofill. And what we found maybe a month or two ago now, we had some really big shakeups in that autofill, and now we had terms that previously weren't our hero terms or weren't necessarily important to us because they didn't have the search volume for it. They now weren't. We had other terms that were now kind of skyrocketing with us, and our hero terms weren't getting the same search volume that they had previously. And so this is something that it takes a couple of weeks for us to recognize, because not only are we looking at the data, maybe thinking it's just a down week, but also query dashboard, it takes a couple of weeks to actually have that show up in the data and to get that. And so it's definitely not a real-time thing. One thing we found is that with Marin, just kind of having all these keywords in there and letting the software be set up in a way that it could do its thing, we saw a 30% increase in revenue for those top performing keywords. And that's something that had we not had Marin hooked up, it just kind of would have been a loss. We just wouldn't have noticed it for a couple of weeks, and by the time it would have been a little late. So definitely some of these so many more things back end that can help with that. Perfect. And then next, I want to get some tools that are really helpful for this type of thing. Pencil is a great kind of more recent tool. They are more focused on the social side, but definitely some use cases within Amazon where you can begin to find better taglines. You can find video creative, and it helps this turnaround time for some of these things become a lot quicker. And so definitely a tool that we recommend to be able to kind of improve some of these turnarounds a little bit faster. And for DSP, this is great for that aspect of it, because DSP is such kind of an unused thing for so many advertisers because of the high barrier to entry. But when it comes to creative and optimization, DSP is really one of the best places to test this, because you have so much more freedom with where you can show an ad and what you can show. And so great way to implement some of these testings, not only for video, but also for display images and copy as well. And then next, I'll go ahead and pass it back over to Gordon to kind of go through some next steps to get started with this type of stuff.
Great. Yeah. Thank you, Justin. We always like to finish our webinars up with a summary of what we covered. So here's just a review of the key points you can take away and apply to your Amazon campaign right away. So, use tools like ChatGPT and the plugin code interpreter or even Marin Insights for quick data analysis that'll save you time and get you faster to where you're trying to go for certain optimization targets. Implement automation for efficient campaign management. Let AI do more of the work on pricing for you, bidding and budget optimization, so you can focus your efforts on strategy and the human need for decision making that our brains provide versus a computer understanding what you're giving to it, right? Prioritize your customer experience. That's like always top. It's number one, also one of Amazon's mantras. And in doing so, you can create better content and better engagement, and look to AI to help you broaden your approach to keyword research, audience targeting, personalization to that end. And then, continually enhance your creative with AI assistance, these features. So I know we are kind of getting close to time, right, Katie?
Yeah, doing the quick time check here. No offense taken if anyone needs to hop, if anyone needs to hop off the call. But we'll go ahead and take another 3 minutes and do a quick Q&A here. But no offense taken if anyone is at time, since we're just over 45 minutes here. I know that we covered a lot of ground today, and there's, like Gordon mentioned, there's so much that can be said surrounding AI and automation at large, and also how we can further optimize our Amazon advertising. But I'll go ahead and do a few quick questions. I'll just do one each for now, since we're a little short on time, and I'd love to start with Gordon. Gordon, how can someone ensure that the AI and automation tools they're using comply with Amazon's advertising policies?
Sure. And actually, I think I could fuse one with one of the questions that we just had in the chat as well. What is the name of the AI creative tool you mentioned 2 minutes ago? That was Pencil. And platforms like Pencil, other AI tools, especially for generating content, these are reputable companies that are making sure they are compliant with Amazon's policies. And so there's not much risk around utilizing these platforms as they're developing, because they're making sure what they're generating for you can be utilized in that environment. It's super important to regularly review these policies and make sure that your tools are updated accordingly. But yeah, to that earlier question as well, the name of that content generation AI tool was Pencil, that Justin.
Great. Awesome. Thank you, Gordon. Justin, a question to direct your way. How can a marketing team measure the success of implementing AI and automation in their workflows, and how do you measure the success of those campaign strategies? How do you tell the juice is worth the squeeze?
Exactly. Yeah, it's a great question. And whenever it comes to implementing a new tool, whether it's an AI tool, whether it's new software, whatever it might be, there are still going to be some core key metrics that are really important to your business at the end of the day. And so it's important to really look at it through the lens of those same metrics. If your brand needs to maintain a certain total A cost, then measure total A costs. If you need to hit certain revenue targets, it's really dependent on the amount of time you're putting into it. I'd say if the tool takes more time to maintain than it did previous to implementing it, then at that point it's probably not worth it. But if it's really helping you get those metrics that are really important and key to your business, so whatever those are, that's going to be the important thing at the end of the day.
Awesome. Thank you, Justin. Any other burning questions, thoughts, tips that you guys have to share with our audience today?
I think another thing I didn't really get to mention, but one thing I would look at is Google's making a big move to be competitive in this space by releasing a ton of Chrome plugins. I would strongly recommend, if you're a Chrome user, to install this plugin called AI Prompt Genius for ChatGPT. It allows you to save and auto queue prompts that you've had work really well in the past. So as you get better at utilizing prompts, you find a function that you're doing repeatedly, it's like a one-click button that you can just incorporate that prompt and it'll generate what you're looking for really quickly. But it also has a library you can access of other prompts in all different areas and verticals that can really help you go from like zero to hero really quickly in a new function that you're looking for. And there's one other thing that's basically around, just keep in mind that AI and automation in your ad strategy it's a step forward. I wouldn't be as worried about doom and gloom and fear around AI. It's a little bit more about like that Iron Man example I talked about before. Find out how you can utilize it to accentuate your existing workflows and save time, so you are weaponizing the brains that you have on your team of people who can make more strategic decisions. And if you find the way that you have like this group of Iron Man armor suits on everybody, you're going to be more competitive. You're going to have an advantage over some of your competitors, and you're going to be faster with recognizing trends and elevating your strategy and growth. So I wouldn't look at AI as a replacement for humans at all yet. I mean, at all. It's something to augment our abilities. Yeah.
Awesome. Well said, Gordon. Thank you so much. For anyone that's been on this call, if you're interested in learning more about any of Marin's tools that can help you streamline your work as a performance marketer, or if you would like to get Amazon consultancy services from Pitted Labs, we have QR codes here that you can just pull your phone out real quick and scan either one of them. We also have that email address at the bottom or links. So any of these places you can visit, you can find us. We're here to help. And honestly, Gordon and Justin have both offered to answer any question you have following the call as well. So don't be afraid to reach out. I just want to thank everyone for joining the session today. I felt like it was really great to have these two experts on with us. And I know that I learned a lot, so I hope you gained something from it as well. Everyone have a great day, and we hope you can take some of what you've learned and start executing it. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.